Hello, everyone. How's everyone doing today? Hope everyone is doing very, very well. Thank you for joining me as always. Let's get to it. It's probably going to be a good hour plus podcast today. It's quite a few things to get through. Caroline, member for 39 months. Thank you so much, Caroline. You are so much appreciated. 39 months. My goodness. You have been with me for 39 months plus. That is actually wild. I can't even commit to the gym for 39 minutes. But you have been with me for 39 months. That's amazing. Oh, I appreciate you all so much. Do you know what? As a listener, who listens to other podcasts, like I guess I can like understand if like somebody really resonates with a space that they keep coming back. I think just as the podcaster, I am just always amazed from my point of view that I create a space for others that you feel that this is a space where you want to come back to. That I still can't wrap my head around, even though I know that I love and I'm obsessed with other podcasts that I've been listening to for just as long. And so I'm so grateful that I'm able to create that space for you all. I'm so grateful to you. And to you too, Church. Listen, Church Nelly, whether it's my podcast, Baron's podcast, Facts and 2 Cents, whoever's, you are always there showing up. You are a fantastic mod. Thank you, Church Nelly. Thank you for being around for 39 months and for your contributions to this entire space. You're much loved. Thank you. Hey, Black Queen, you also appreciate you all. But there are certainly the names that, you know, have been in this space, even like going all the way back to Tina and Michelle. Hey, Mina. Okay, let's get into it. Oh, this whole Andrew thing rolls on. I just feel like we've been having the same conversation for almost a decade. Over a decade. It was about Andrew, it was about Epstein. I haven't seen it. There's only one person in jail right now, and that's Ghislaine Maxwell. And she's in a top tier jail. I believe she even still has access to a computer. Like, she's not really in there suffering. So it's irritating to me because it's like we're being traumatized with all this information, but where does it go next? It's almost like they're saying, well, you wanted the files, you wanted to know what was in them, here they are, but we're going to do absolutely nothing, and there's nothing you can do to us. That's kind of what it feels like. I wonder if there's an element to all of this in which we're even being tested. Maybe they want to see, is anybody going to do anything? Yeah, there's always something much bigger at play. Before we get into the nitty gritty, just FYI, I think there is a new combo on As Ever. There was the Valentine's combo, and then I literally just now, I didn't even have time to get it on my slides. Meghan just posted a really cute picture on As Ever. It's like her holding a bunch of balloons, and I believe they've just added a new combo. Let me just double check. For those of you that maybe wanted the chocolates, but the chocolate was sold out, I think you can still get it in the larger set. when this decides to okay, there's the there's there's a Valentine's edit, which is the 4 chocolates, a candle, the 2 spreads, some tea and some sprinkles. That's like $185. So that's a little bit more pricey, but you're still getting everything for slightly cheaper than what you would if you bought the pieces individually. And they just added the sweetheart bundle. So this is $92 and it's all the chocolates and 2 spreads. So you don't get the candle, the sprinkles, and the tea, just the chocolate and the raspberry and strawberry spread. So for those of you that missed out on the chocolate, you can still get that. And the if you like the white chocolate, you can get the white chocolate and flour sprinkles duo. That's still there. But I think all the other chocolates individually sold out, I'm afraid. They've still got the cider mulling spice kit, which is nice, and the hot toddy mulling spice from Christmas. Trina actually did mention that they haven't put the crepe mix back, and I think they should. The crepe mix and the biscuits did really well, so I do wonder why they haven't brought them back. All right, let's move it along. That is As Ever news. Now, who remembers this? This cover. Worst royal crisis in 85 years, they said, on the daily cover of the Mirror. The worst crisis apparently was Harry and Meghan just telling the truth. Truth was the crisis to these people. Shout out to whichever squaddy decided to do a Photoshop edit of the picture of Andrew that just came out. It just amazes me that the establishment and the tabloids, let's just be absolutely clear, they knew about all of this. They knew about all of it. They knew it was coming. And they did the most to Harry and Meghan, knowing that all of this was coming. They did the most to Harry and Meghan in order to use Harry and Meghan as a scapegoat and a distraction. And if Harry and Meghan were still in the fold, they'd be using them as such, them and their children. I'm so glad Harry and Meghan got out. And like I said in my last podcast, and I'm sorry, I'm going to say it again, they should never, ever mention the Queen again. Don't go to memorials, nothing. Because they're coming for Betty. And her legacy. And what part she may have played in the cover-up of all of this. There was a Channel 4 segment where they spoke about the way the Queen was the ultimate trophy for Epstein. And the way in which the Queen created this wall of protection around her, and the wall of protection, she was able to create it through her silence. And this is just what I find incredible. Someone of her status for decades in our society. When did she become the Queen? At 24, 25? And she died in her 90s? Being able to wield such power through her silence and literally being congratulated for her silence, by the way. The way people would speak about, her being stoic and staying out of politics. People of this level of status who stay out of politics and stay silent are the reason victims are silenced. Because they know that when it's all said and done, the perpetrators will be protected. The Queen should have Elizabeth, I'm gonna call her. Elizabeth should have gotten so much more heat for all of this while she was still alive. So use this protective layer of silence and never complain, never explain, and try to pass that off as stoicism and being apolitical. There's no such thing as being apolitical. That is nonsense, especially when you are a figurehead of a whole country and its so-called Commonwealth realms. Somebody said, Tristan Hopper said, with each passing day, it becomes ever more of a miracle that she was able to shut up about her political beliefs for 70 consecutive years. Most of us can't even accept a Grammy without saying something dumb. And what's even more annoying is the way that she was praised for it. Oh, the Queen doesn't get involved in politics. That's the greatest thing about her. That she doesn't say too much. And all of that apparently leads to this this calmness and continuity. You've talked to anyone who's super royalist, these are some of the words that they would use, right? These propagandist words: calmness and continuity. Yes, calmness, because the truth creates chaos, as we're now seeing with these Epstein files. Continuity, because the status quo is kept in place, and that status quo includes silencing victims. As Graham Smith from the Republic Group said, what's really extraordinary is that she convinced everyone she never made a mistake and should never be challenged on anything, allowing her to protect Andrew for decades. Andrew and others, because there's others tied to the establishment who were also protected. Maybe not directly by Betty herself, but their actions could have been better challenged if there wasn't this culture of silence. And that culture in these type of structures, these class structures, these elitist structures, it starts at the top. And who's around the person at the top? Because I know there's some people who are going to come in the comment section, the trolls are going to come in the comment section and be like, oh, but she was just a figurehead and she was just being controlled. And okay, let's get your comments. I mean, to be honest, I'm honestly surprised that other names from the British royal family haven't popped up in those files. I'm actually quite surprised at that. Not even some of the other minor royals. Fergie has proven herself to be absolutely the most desperate out of all of them. I mean, she wanted Epstein to marry her. Money, money, money. Controlled by it, thirsty for it. Fergie has fled the UK, apparently. I don't know where she's gone. And I don't know where she's going to seek refuge now. Because one of the emails actually said between Epstein and somebody else, Fergie trying to satisfy Fergie's money needs was becoming an issue. It's like there was never enough. So where is she going to go now? I don't think her daughters are going to help her or want anything to do with her. If she's fled, that means and Andrew's still in the UK, so she definitely doesn't have a place with Andrew, it seems. Not that I think that this woman should be coddled at all. I couldn't care less if she was left out on the streets. Maybe for the first time in her life, she needs to know what it feels like. However, for the establishment, if they want to contain this, they actually have no choice but to help Fergie at this point. Because if they don't help her, she's a loose cannon because of her desperation. She will now say and do anything. So now they've given themselves an issue. What do they do with her? It hasn't been, I don't think it's been confirmed. Let me just actually double check there was a article from People There was also another email where Fergie said that no woman in the royal family escapes with her head or something like that. Tells you everything. Let's have a look now. Oh yeah, so she's assessing her options. So she is not. So she's moved out of Royal Lodge. What I mean, this article is saying she's assessing her options. What are her options? Sarah is still deciding where she will live. I mean, she has no money unless Andrew has given her some money somehow from Charles. Do you know what? Do you know what this also sounds like to me? I've just thought about something. The way this article is written, because this could what the so her Fergie's spokesperson has said she's assessing a number of options currently and no final decision has been made. Do you know what that sounds like to me? If this is coming from her spokesperson, it's almost like she's trying to send a message to whoever might be listening, whether it's her Aristo friends or some how these royals, they like to go hopping around to other countries to get money from people that want to be close to the royals. It's almost like she's sending a message and saying, one of you better step up. Now, who will that somebody be? Who's going to be funding her? She's going to be a loose cannon. I just know Camilla's somewhere seething. Camilla, by the way, was actually yelled at by reporters. They asked her about Epstein and she kept silent. Just walked in. I don't know what building she was going in to or what event this was, but she completely ignored reporters. Camilla, who keeps trying to position herself as an advocate for women and violence against women, absolutely silent on this issue. She's disgusting. She's absolutely disgusting. She is. Kenna, you said you're at work pretending to be busy. It is very busy work having to sit here and psychoanalyze these crazy elitist people. I would class that as work. You're helping me do my work. Electra, you got your jam and your chocolate. Yay. Wendy, if the government is going after Lord Peter Mandelson, then there is no excuse not to go after Andrew. Indeed. For those of you who don't live in the UK, Peter Mandelson is a political figure in the UK that was caught up also in this scandal. And that it would appear that they're doing something or moving pieces to hold him accountable, or at least I think, hasn't he stepped down already? Let me just confirm actually, because he so the Prime Minister has actually spoken about this, that Peter Mandelson betrayed our country. I mean, so have you, really. By leaking. Okay, so Peter Mandelson apparently leaked information to Jeffrey Epstein. He lied repeatedly about his relationship with the PDF file. During his appointment process to the US ambassador role. Apparently, he's also spoken to Charles about it. That he regrets appointing him. And if they had known then what they know now, he would never have been anywhere near government. You see, the question I keep asking is, we literally have intelligence agencies. Why aren't the intelligence agencies doing their jobs? When it comes to Mandelson, when it comes to Andrew, when it comes to Savile, whoever else. When it comes to, the royals and and all their dodgy dealings with foreign entities, Charles running around with cash money bags from Qatar. Where are the security services in all of this? So Mandelson will no longer be a privy councillor, which allows him to be described as right honourable. Okay, so they've taken him away from his position. They may do an investigation. He's been sacked from his role, or he was sacked from his role in September. I'm not seeing anything about this man being arrested or being taken to court or being put in jail. He maintains that he did not act criminally. Well, yeah, they're not doing anything to this man. At best, he had to step down from his role and that's it. However, in the US, nobody's been asked to step down or step back. In fact, everyone whose name keeps being mentioned, including the tyrant leader himself, just continues to carry on like nothing's happening. They're saying Mandelson is the fall guy. To me, it seems like Mandelson and Andrew are going to be the fall guys for all of this. That's what it seems like. Because why aren't I hearing more names? I think the UK establishment have decided that Andrew's going to be the fall guy. Because it can't have just been a handful of politicians or celebrities. It's got to have been a lot more people. Cookies and cream, you're saying that you believe the Queen was an enabler. Oh, hi, 1998 champions. You said you've been missing in the chats, been MIA since Christmas, sick as hell for over a month. I'm so sorry about that. Thank you for coming back. I hope you're feeling better now. Electri said, I hate that Lily is named after her. I wish they would have named her after Diana. Well, I mean, it's Lilibet Diana, isn't it? Meghan knew the fake queen, not the real one. Did the queen even know who she was? Not taking away any personal responsibility for her actions, by the way, when I say that. But really, did she know who she was? Being in this institution, having the role that she had. I think there's an element to which you just switch off your humanity and you just become this character. I think the Queen, Elizabeth, lived her entire life as a character. I don't even really think she knew who she was. And for sure, we never knew who she was. Because of her silence, you could just project anything onto her and convince yourself that you knew who she was. And I know that Harry's always spoken highly of his grandmother, but to be honest, I don't think he really knew who she was either. I think when it's all said and done, when you are dealing with a power structure like this that goes back hundreds of years, that is obsessed with self-preservation and doing the most horrendous things to preserve their power, including throwing other members of their own family under the bus or through a tunnel. I don't really think you can ever really know who anyone is. At best, from what Harry has said, the Queen apparently was encouraging him to or supported his quest to go against the press, or maybe towards the end of her life she may have started to see things differently, but all too little too late, and still very much enabling Andrew to the very end. Lady, you said watch for William's name to pop up, hence the crisis man. Well, I mean, it's interesting, isn't it? A crisis manager, just as all of this comes up, right? Crisis manager when no crisis is coming, and then boom, major crisis. And how are they trying to paint William now as all of this crisis is happening? The lad who goes to football games and drinks beer. I mean, at this point, if you honestly believe that William is a guy's guy, if you buy into that propaganda, you know what? I can't even be mad at the establishment at this point. I'm just looking at the fools who believe this. Edward didn't keep silent about Epstein. Well, I heard about this so-called statement that Edward made, right? There was someone in the press pack at this event that he was at. Apparently he's in Dubai or something, that asked the question. I think if that journalist had not bothered to ask, I don't think Edward would have said anything. That's the first thing. And what he did say was very vague. He said, remember, there are victims in all of this. If we were truly thinking about, and that's all he said, by the way, and they're trying to paint it as royal member of a royal family breaks silent. Edward becomes the first person to say something. I don't think if that journalist had not asked Edward, he wouldn't have said anything. And for him to say, oh, we all need to remember there's victims. The best way of remembering the victims is to arrest everyone. That's how we remember about the victims. As Edward is concerned, his brother, the PDF file, is a victim too. So when he says, remember there's victims in all of this, is he talking about the actual victims or is he talking about Andrew? Because they're all acting like Andrew's the victim. Patricia said, I got all the way to Tina, Michelle, and Markle Sparkle. Yes. Those that have been on my channel for long enough know that the original name for my podcast was indeed Sparkle, but I changed it because I didn't want to use Markle anymore. So we very quickly changed to Duchess of Success. It was a good choice. Electra, Harry needs to take his rose-colored glasses off when it comes to his father and grandmother. Well, I mean, we're not flies on the walls in the homes of these people. For all we know, it could just be self-preservation on Harry's part. Because even if he felt any type of way about the Queen when she was the Queen and his dad, current king, he wouldn't be able to say it. It would be considered treason. They wouldn't hesitate to unalive him. And it would appear that they've tried several times. Or at least done things that could lead to that. La Chica Con, you said, how was Andrew allowed to associate with such dodgy people? Heads of the royal family would have been aware. So why did they allow it? You know why? The people who are meant to be overseeing this, they're probably in on it too. They're sick freaks too. They're part of the cover up too. That, and I think maybe we give too much credit to these institutions and systems, right? For example, right now the United States is being run by a tyrant. I had always assumed as a non-US citizen and the image and the idea that I had of the United States, that there were checks and balances within the Constitution, within security services, CIA, FBI, that this wouldn't ever be allowed to happen. That was my assumption. Now, well, you look at what's happening. Clearly, what I had assumed isn't the case at all. So I think maybe what we assume isn't always what's there. So we can say, oh, well, why didn't MI5 know? Why didn't MI6 know? And all of this. But maybe the idea, what we have in our heads, isn't actually what's there. And also, a lot of the times, the same structures that are meant to be, keeping checks and balances, they're corrupt also. They're corrupt because they all have to protect each other. Leveson Inquiry is a fantastic example of this. Leveson 1 was meant to look at phone hacking and what Murdoch and all these tabloids were doing, right? Leveson 2 Inquiry was meant to look at the corruption of the police in relation to the phone hacking scandal. Leveson 2 Inquiry was cancelled. What would have come out about the police? And it was cancelled by the government, and they gave the stupidest reason ever. They said it would cost too much money, which was a stupid reason. It would have cost a few million at best. That's nothing for the government, especially when you consider some of the things that were going on between the police and the tabloids. So what would have come out about the police? So yeah, to answer your question, La Chica, why did they allow that? Because usually they're part of the cover-up. Yeah, that was another thing I missed about Edward's comment. He had first said that people don't want to hear about that, and then said something vague about victims. Excuse me, people don't want to hear about the number one story of the day. Are you sure? People don't want to hear about it, or you don't want to hear about it, Edward? Edwina, with your Ford Fiesta wife. Seems to be failures of not just judgment, but of security, which affects the whole nation and its people. Yeah. Yeah. I still want to know why Charles was running around with cash money bags from Qatar. I'm still curious to know why that's the case. Electra. What happened to Meghan's so-called dad? Is he out of the hospital? Yeah. I mean, that story just went real silent, didn't it? Yeah, that story just went real silent, didn't it? It was all over the place, and then zilch. I don't know what Meghan put in that letter, but it was definitely something. Cease and desist. Sit your ass down. Granted, I think Thomas Markle will be sitting down for a while. I don't know how long an amputated leg takes to heal. But the fact that they tried to weaponize that in the press against your own daughter. What do you even say? What do you even say to that? The CMS is not an American problem as well. Of course. The tentacles go far and wide, but the tightest grip, it seems to be in the US. At least when it comes to Epstein, anyway. I believe that there are many Epsteins, and that this goes obviously further than the US, but the epicenter seems to have been there. You think that Fergie will be kept well funded to keep quiet? I mean, it seems like a lot of her money over the years came from Epstein, right? So the royals weren't really funding her. other entities were. And if they want her to stay quiet, they're gonna have to fund her. Electro said there are checks and balances in the US, but the party in charge is stopping it from going forward. Okay. Your Supreme Court is bought and paid for. Helen, you said it's because this behavior has been normalized by the elite. When you think the people Charles Windsor was friendly with, yes, Bishop Peter Ball or Matt Boughton, Jimmy Savile, and many more. Many more. I mean, Andrew is the tip of the iceberg. Tip of the iceberg. I've also never believed that Jimmy Savile acted alone. I've never believed that. Okay, next thing. Hey, Puzzle Dot. Next thing. There's quite a few articles to get through. Let's have a look at this. Oh yes, let's have a look at this very strange story. Kate. I mean, I feel like at this point it's the only way that she can get attention. But Kate visited. So do you remember the brand that Meghan helped, right? So she wore their jeans, and then they got so much PR from that they had to extend their factory. They literally had to extend their factory because so many people wanted to wear their jeans and order their jeans after Meghan wore them, right? The Hoot, is it Hoot denim? So this is a denim company in Wales that Meghan made so famous. They had 3 months worth of orders. While Kate was there, she wore Victoria Beckham. There have been rumors that David Beckham and Victoria Beckham leaked about the Sussexes, or because of their closeness now with the royals, David's desperation to get that knighthood, that they've been very salty and shady towards the Sussexes. And here is Kate Middleton wearing a Victoria Beckham piece of clothing as she goes and visits the denim factory that Meghan made famous. Now, I also think another reason why Kate is doing this is because the brands that Kate wears, they've all been going bankrupt. I think there's maybe 4 or 5 of them. So I think that they have noticed that we have picked up on that. And so what I think Kate is trying to do is jump on the back of Meghan's success with brands in order to hide the fact that the brands that Kate associates with are basically all going under. I think that's why Kate has showed up to the exact same factory that Meghan made famous. It's also, I think, a way of erasing Meghan. If Kate can insert herself where Meghan has been, she can take the glory, or at least some of it, or try. I don't know if it's going to work. This is a form of mirroring and destiny swapping. Spiritually, this is what we call this. when someone it's not that somebody is inspired by you, they have an obsession with you and they start mirroring everything that you're doing. It's also a form of bullying. So, royal fashion used to be sold as a fairy tale of instant success for the fashion outlet. Wear a coat, carry a bag, and a struggling label would supposedly bloom overnight. That narrative worked for years because the press repeated it often enough. Yet the record now tells a different story. Multiple British brands linked to Kate Middleton have since faced administration, layoffs, or quiet closures, while the myth of a guaranteed commercial boost continues to circulate as if nothing changed. At the same time, accusations that wardrobe Kate's wardrobe mirrors Meghan Sussex's style are no longer whispers confined to fan forums. Side by side comparisons, stylists, follow lists, and documented timelines have filled social feeds and previous reporting alike. The pattern has been noted repeatedly, not as gossip, but as an observable sequence. Meghan wears it first, headlines follow, and months later, a similar silhouette elsewhere appears with a new credit attached. What makes the current moment sharper is the media pivot now unfolding. As the once celebrated Kate effect struggles to match its reputation, coverage increasingly links her to brands that Meghan originally elevated. Media outlets push shoe labels and handbags that Meghan spotlighted back into the news with new captions and recycled praise, editing the origin story in real time. The result is a rebranding exercise designed to keep an inflated legacy afloat when the receipt suggests another author wrote the draft first. So in 2018, several smaller fashion labels experienced sudden global exposure after Meghan wore their pieces during official visits. Founders openly credited her influence with job growth, factory expansion. Factory expansion. Our sis is moving economies. And months of back orders. These are not vague impressions, they were measurable outcomes shared in interviews and financial reports. The language used by business owners often sounded emotional because the impact felt immediate and life-changing for local workers. FYI, can I also say thank you to Kathy G for 46 months of membership. Yes. Happy Black History Month to you too. 46 months of membership. Wow. That is amazing. Thank you so much, Kathy G. A real one you are. So much appreciated. Thank you for sticking around for so long. Go back to article. Yeah, sorry, I just wanted to stop to thank Kathy G. Meghan later explained that she viewed clothing as quite a form of advocacy. She chose brands with purpose or strong female leadership, and she understood the ripple effect that her wardrobe could create. That's how mindful Meghan is. We're not just wearing coat dresses to look like a pretty princess, some Mary Poppins cosplay nonsense. We're dressing with purpose and intention. That philosophy resonated with audiences who saw her fashion choices as intentional rather than decorative. The narrative around her style, therefore, is linked directly to support for small businesses, not just aesthetics. When those very same brands resurface years later on Kate Middleton's royal calendar, many observers do not view it as a fresh discovery. They see a pattern they have already watched unfold. The original spotlight is traceable. Mainstream outlets now describe a polished commercial surge tied to Kate Middleton with striking confidence. Headlines celebrate revenue jumps, international sales, and heritage branding as if each handbag appearance begins a new chapter rather than continuing an existing one. The language leans heavily on stability and tradition, presenting her influence as dependable instead consolidation instead of fresh discovery. That framing becomes especially noticeable when it arrives alongside glowing financial statistics and carefully selected timelines. And their desperation to push this idea of Kate's influence also. It doesn't have to be pushed or desperate with Meghan. The proof is just there. Everything sells out. The baby's strawberry pajamas sells out. The H&M bowls sell out. Archie's little dinosaur toys sells out. The waffle maker sells out. The chairs where they were sitting, the garden chairs at the Oprah interviews sold out. Imagine the British Association chicken rescue website, it crashed because people were looking into how do I rescue chickens after the Oprah interview. Imagine. The other royals could never. So the Times provided a textbook example of how this narrative works. The article, okay, so it basically explains how the media are trying to push this idea of the Kate effect that it doesn't, when you look at the figures, it doesn't add up. Listen, if somebody has the power to influence as greatly as Meghan does, that's just not something that can be faked. What's also interesting about when Meghan wears something, it's not just the item that sells out, anything that looks like it on other websites also starts to sell out. All right, let's get through your comments and then we will keep it moving. Hi everyone, if you're just coming in, almost 500 of you in the chat. I think that this is the first time we've had over 500 in a while. La Chica, you said, yes, I agree. The Leveson inquiry is a good example. A lot of things that go on are allowed to go on. I think someone somewhere or many in the government, royal family, positions of authority, yeah, there is a lot of stuff that they don't want to come out. Now, Kate is now also going to be forced to work. She tends to disappear at the beginning of the year. But I think for the first time, given her strange disappearance before, her intermittent illness, people are starting to say, are these royals actually doing enough work for the first time? So she is apparently set to travel to Wales as questions persist of her limited royal diary. So she's going to be on engagement to West Wales. I hope someone asks her about Andrew and Epstein. I hope so. Life should not be easy for these people going forward. Apparently, the police are responding to some kind of other allegation linked to Andrew. Now, the only response that I'm interested in is an arrest. Now, Andrew, by the way, is currently 8th in line, just behind Harry. I don't care about any type of linguistics that the palace, the media want to play. He is actually still Prince Andrew. Let's not be silly about this. He's 8th in line. He's still a hereditary prince. All of this are taking away the titles and nonsense. He's still a hereditary prince that's 8th in line. If the worst should happen, he would be king. Still, nothing would be stopping that. Unless Parliament wants to grow a backbone, or we had a referendum, Andrew would be king in that situation. That's the most ridiculous part about the monarchy structure. If you ask me, he should be stripped of his titles. Stripped of his princely title and privileges, his hereditary princely title, because that's what gives him his privileges under the structure of the monarchy. And then we need to deal with the monarchy as an institution. But I do hope that someone asks Kate about him. These people should not be allowed to move freely until we get answers. So what the world's visit actually involves? The engagement is narrow in scope. Well, why does that not surprise me? Narrow in scope pretty much describes where the other royals are at the moment. So she's going to be visiting textiles producers and heritage manufacturing. So doing nothing useless at the taxpayers' expense, while we're all trying to get our head around what was in those 3 million emails that just got released. Kate's just gonna keep calm, carry on, and go to a textile producer. How is this going to help the average British person? I don't know. If there's a royalist in the comment section, perhaps you'd like to hop on in and tell me. It also is just a way of puffing up her schedule. So from Feminagra, publicly available records show that Kate Middleton has maintained a relatively light engagement schedule at the start of 2026, with appearances spread thinly across months rather than clustered into busy working days. Despite this, some lifestyle coverage has described her diary as busy, a characterization that sits uneasy alongside the wider picture of royal workloads. By contrast, Princess Anne has continued to operate at a remarkably higher pace. By late January, she had completed more than 20 engagements. Now, anybody in the comment section, would you like to tell me what any of those 20 engagements were? What, if any, charities they were linked to and what impact was created? I bet no one can name one. This is why I don't take it seriously when they say things like, oh, but the other rules work so much harder. They're all lazy, in my opinion. Some are just lazier than others. And Kate, it would appear, is the laziest of all. On January 28th alone, Princess Anne undertook 3 engagements in Cambridgeshire, bringing her total to 23 for the month. The comparison is not about fault or criticism, it illustrates how loosely the term busy is applied when describing the Princess of Wales' more limited public schedule. Indeed. Her supporters obviously point to her cancer diagnosis in 2004 and a cautious recovery in 2025. Critics argue that the monarchy still presents her as a full-time working royal while delivering a part-time schedule. Both views now coexist. What no longer holds up is the attempt to frame limited appearances as intensity. Well, there you have it. All right. Let's go through your comments. And remember, when Kate disappeared, they were already trying to push this narrative of part-time working royals, working from our castles royals, working from home, working from the royal lodge royals. Must be nice when you're working from home is in a giant estate. A giant estate with 150 acres that you took from the public while screaming about we need to go out in nature more. Can't make it up. By the way, guys, so I think I've got some kind of noise blocking feature on my StreamYard now, so hopefully you can't hear it. Outside of my window, I throughout the day, I hear probably 5 different species of birds. Right now, there's one that sounds, I don't even think it sounds like a bird. It's like when a man is being silly and and a guy wolf whistles you. That's what it sounds like. So there's that bird. There's the 3 roosters. Each of my neighbors has a rooster and they scream at each other and sing death metal throughout the day. There's this other bird that starts singing in the morning. And it's like I haven't figured out what species of bird this is. They sing in pairs. And it's like there's 6 notes. It sounds beautiful, but it's the only one that actually sounds quite nice. I don't know if it's the male bird singing together, the female bird singing together, the male and the female sing together, but there's that one. And then there's two others. One that sounds like an annoying cackle, and then another one that's just like a regular chirpy chirp chirp. And then you've got the geckos that go off at night. I just wanted to give you that antidote because the screamy one is going off right now. That's life in the tropics. 10 out of 10 would recommend. Oh yeah, you don't hear any birds because I've got the external noise blocker off. But it sounds like a man whistling at you. I'm gonna have to like Google and look up all the species of birds where I am. Oh, thank you so much, Simone. You can't hear anything other than my lovely voice. Oh, all right, folks. I'm gonna end things there. It's literally like going to 3 a.m. in the morning where I am. Yes, like yes, Bony Mighty. I will end on your wonderful words. Meghan is blessed to bless others. And I'm so glad her and Harry and their children are away from this mess. God said, nope, you're not going to be part of this. I'm going to give you your peace that you deserve. And they left, and they're peaceful indeed, while chaos ensues. Going to be interesting to see what Kate is met with from her appearances. And of course, I mean, all of them now, wherever they step out, I think they're going to be asked about this. Should be interesting. All right, folks, I will see you tomorrow. Thank you as always. Ciao.